Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael, and today I thought we would try out our new appliance that we've got here, our new Ninja cooker that we've got, and I'm going to be putting it on a slow cooker to make some beans today. So you might have some recipes where it calls just adding a can of beans, and instead of opening up a can, if you've got dry beans, you can definitely cook them. I'm not going to be putting a lot of different seasonings in them. I'm just going to season them with salt. That's basically what's in a can of beans that you've got. Definitely you can take this to the next level once they're cooked, that you've got those. So I've got 3 different types of beans here, and when I do make my beans, I always put equal amounts of 3 different kinds of beans in it. I just like the taste of all 3 of them together instead of just having pinto beans or black beans or red beans. So I've got black beans, I've got a cup of those, I've got a cup of pintos, and a cup of the red beans. If it's just for yourself or making a small batch, then definitely you could use 1/4 cup of each, or 1/2 cup, or 3/4. I'm going to be making up here for a couple of days because I really like them, and I've got several recipes that I'm going to be using them for. So today's beans that I'll be making are just going to be just with seasoning with salt. They're not going to have the typical ham or the sofrito or the other things that I put in it. This is going to be just basically like what you would get out of a can of beans from the store. So I'm going to start with my pinto beans, because pinto beans are notoriously, of the 3 of them, the worst offenders as far as having things in them, and to be, I think, the dirtiest. So what we want to do is just kind of spread these out on this. I've got just a piece of wax paper here. You don't have to put that down if you don't want to. But for some reason, when I get pinto beans, every once in a while I find little rocks and things in them. You definitely don't want that, and you'll be biting down into a rock in your beans. So you want to check those. So I just kind of spread them out and take a look at them and see if there's any bad ones in here. You might look at them and see, well, this one's broken in half. I don't know that I want that in there. Or you might find one that has a look like that maybe just a little bit discolored or a little bit misshapen. And this one here is kind of crinkled looking. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'm going to try to see it. It feels funny on the outside of it, the coating on it, so don't want that one in there. So we're going to kind of look and see here. This one's got kind of a different spot on it. So you want to inspect your beans, do that with all the ones that you've got. And then I'm going to show you how to wash these. So I'm going to continue to look through these. I do not see any rocks or anything in these. I do see some more imperfections in them, like that one there. I don't want that in there. So definitely inspect your dry beans. When you get them, you don't want any imperfections in those. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer these over to a bowl. And it's nice that I've got this paper down here, because I can just pick them up off this tray and just lift them right into that. And then I've got that I can dispose of after I check the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and get some water, and I'm going to show you how to wash the beans, how my grandmother taught my mother, and both of them taught me how to do it. So let me get some water, and I'm going to show you how we're going to wash our beans. All right, I'm back. I just got regular tap water out of the sink, and we're going to take our hands, and what I do with them is I just kind of rub them down into the water. And if there's any debris on the outside of them, you're just kind of scooping it up in one, and with the other one, you're just kind of roughly going over the top of them. And you'll see here in just a minute how dirty these pinto beans are. And by rubbing your hands like this, it does create friction on the beans, and it can get any debris that's on the outside on off of it. So I'm going to see if you can see how dirty that is, that water on that. It is really dirty where those are. So I'm going to go back to the sink. I'm going to use my colander here, and I'm going to wash these twice more, so 2 more times, so a total of 3 times. So I'm going to go ahead and inspect my black beans and my red beans that I've got, and I'm going to do the same procedure with them. I'm going to wash each of them 3 times, and then we'll be ready to start our cooking. So I'll be right back after everything's been washed. All right, I've got my beans washed now, and I've got them in this slow cooker that I've got here. And if you don't have a slow cooker, you can definitely cook them in a pot like this. If you've got a nice sized pot, just put your beans in it, and then we're going to fill it halfway full of water. So you can take a look at your bean level that you've got in your pot, and whatever that is, I just kind of double it just to bring it up a little bit more. That way you've got plenty of water in it, because as you can see, the beans are really small, but when they cook, they will swell up and almost double in size. So it will fill the container up quite a bit once it starts cooking with those. Just keep a watch on your water level as you're cooking them in a pot on the stove. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with this just to see. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up halfway with water, and I'm going to turn this on, and I'll be back and I'll show you what we're going to do with our seasoning. All right, I've got my water now in the pot, and I did not quite put it up to the halfway mark as I was looking at the beans. I kind of looked at where the level was in the beans, and I just kind of doubled the water level where it was. Normally when I cook my beans in a pot like this, I put 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon for the 3 cups of beans that I've got. So definitely, as you're adjusting your seasoning, if you're not cooking as many of these, you might want to put in, if you're taking half of the batch, you're only making half of it, then just put half of this in. Or if you're making a third of it, then bring it down to maybe where you're just using a half a tablespoon. But you can definitely check the seasoning as the beans are cooking. And a lot of people wait till the very end to put the seasoning in. I like putting it in at the start. That way the beans get to absorb a little bit of that seasoning that goes in it. But if you put too much in it, the beans will be too salty. So err on the side of light on the seasoning as you get started, because once the beans are done, then you can definitely turn it off, put some more seasoning in when it needs it, and just let them sit for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and they'll absorb some into the beans themselves, and then you can test the seasoning at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my tablespoon plus my teaspoon of my salt in there. I'm going to put the lid on it, and then I'm going to turn it on here to see where we've got it on slow cooker, and I'm going to reach around here, and we're going to set that up, and that's going to cook for 6 hours. So normally what you would do with these is you would bring them up in your pot to a boil, to a rolling boil, and then turn them down to low and just let them cook for several hours and keep a watch on them and that. So I'll be checking back on these and let you see what these look like as we're progressing, and see how this pot does with that for cooking these beans in it today. So stick with me and we'll see what this looks like as this progresses. I am back, and it has been a little over 6 hours, and my beans are done. About 3 hours into the cooking, I went and gave it a taste test to see if it needed any more seasoning, and I wound up putting another teaspoon of salt into it. So you just never know, going from a pot that you normally cook things in, how things are going to really change as far as how much water is in that compared to this. So definitely this is a basis for you to make your beans, and you can definitely season those as you like. Like I said, you can wait till the very end and do it, and then try it to see if they need any seasoning, and then you just add the salt to it and then turn it off and just let them sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and they'll absorb some of the seasoning in it. But I wanted to show you what those look like. A lot of that water did cook down in those, and I've got a nice color to my beans here. So let's give these a test and see what these taste like. All right, these look fantastic. They smell really good, and I can see the steam coming off them, so they're still really hot. So let's give them a try and see how they are. Those are really good. They're seasoned to perfection. And like I say, this is just the basis for the beans. If you want to make these and then put them in something else, like you would use a can, this is where you're at with that. So you've just got your basic seasoning in it. And if you want these as a side dish for your dish, and if you're not going to be using them in a recipe, then definitely go ahead and add some onion, add your ham. And I'll probably do another video on that to show you how you can dress these up. But just for the sake of these are great, what they are. So for these beans and this new pot, I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. And I'm going to get used to it, cooking it in these. It's going to be a learning lesson, and it'll be the same for you, whatever you're cooking it in. So definitely give these a try. I know you're going to love them. And if you like this content, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And check out one of his other 2 videos over here. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Love to hear from you in the comment section on how your beans turned out, or if you do something different with them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye now.